Okay, great. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us for our weekly webcast series called Leadership Talks, brought to you by Security Systems News. My name is Paul Ragusa. I am the editor of the publication. I'm very excited to speak with Steve Gorski. He's the managing director at TKH Security Solutions. Hi, Steve. Thanks for joining us for Leadership Talks.
Good afternoon, Paul. Thanks very much for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
And instead of having me try to describe the company to everyone, can you kind of give us a background on the company and then we'll take it from there?
Yes, absolutely. Thanks very much. So TKH Security Solutions is not a well-known brand here in the United States, but I can assure you as a team, we are really working to change that. Some of your listeners may know us in our previous iteration, a company called Telecom, which was founded in the late 70s and really was a pioneer in the video over fiber industry. And so TKH Security Solutions is part of a Dutch-based company, and it's called the TKH Group. And collectively, the group has about 5,500 employees and revenue of $1 billion. So I like to think of us sometimes as the best kept secret here in the industry. We also have some other TKH companies here in the United States that folks might be familiar with, Command Intercom and Park Assist, which is an automated parking company manufacturer. What sets us apart a bit in the marketplace is we really provide a total solution to the market. So we have IP cameras, we have video management software, as well as the fact that our cameras are also compatible with most of the major VMS manufacturers in the market: Milestone, Genetec, ONSSI, and of course many others. We have encoders and decoders. As I said, kind of our history is video over fiber, so we have video over fiber products. We have access control, and then we also target some key vertical markets, one of which is traffic. So we have some specialty cameras specific for the traffic market, and as well as the marine market, and then we do offer some explosion-proof products as well. All of our products are manufactured in the Netherlands, and we do have our U.S. offices in Germantown, Maryland, and we do some manufacturing in that office as well, particularly regarding the fiber product. So, as I said, we're not a well-known brand here in the U.S., although we've been here for over 30-odd years in a different iteration, and we're working to change that.
It's very interesting, and that got me thinking. Are you doing any work in the smart and safe city world? I know that's kind of taking off right now, and it sounds like a lot of the products that you have would be suitable for that.
Yeah, we've really had a lot of success in that market, and we're actually working on a very exciting project that we're actually just rolling out. It happens to be in Mexico, but it's a very significant city surveillance project where they're utilizing our cameras and our video management system to unify that solution, looking at traffic, applications, and other things. So that's a very exciting space for us. And traditionally we've been very strong in the traffic market because of, again, the history with Telecom and the fiber-related products, because fiber is still used pretty extensively in that traffic market. And I think there's really a lot of innovation going on in that marketplace, and you're going to see some interesting products from us moving forward from an analytics standpoint, but also I think, as to your point and to your question about some of the smart city and some of those other that other functionality that folks are going to be looking for, we're going to be well positioned in that space because of our history in that market.
Yeah, and it just looks like everything is going that way, in terms of the smart and safe city. So that's a really fascinating area. Switching gears, the webcast series is called Leadership Talk, so I did want to ask you about your leadership style. I know you have a lot of experience in managing teams, and so what are some of the things you like to emphasize in your leadership style?
Yeah, so I would describe my leadership style as being, very open, very honest and direct. I don't like to to play games with folks, and maybe sometimes I'm too honest for my own good. Certainly very transparent, without a doubt. And I think I'm also very collaborative. I really like to, involve different members of the team because, I firmly believe that none of us I haven't met anyone yet who's perfect and has all the answers, and I certainly don't either. And I like to, ask the team for their input because, I think it's important to get their ideas and suggestions. I am certainly not a micromanager, by any stretch, but, at the end of the day, we all have a job to do and expect folks to do it. And, I look at my role as really being a supportive role, so providing some direction and leadership and support to allow the people to do their best job. I like to think that I hire the best people out there, and the best thing that I can do is really sort of stay out of their way and let them do their jobs and support them and direct them when needed, but not be a micromanager constantly on top of them, trying to tell them what to do. So I think that's how I would really describe myself.
Yeah, it's good. I really like that perspective on it. And I know we spoke a little bit about you work closely with integrators, so I'm really interested to hear what they're looking for today from a manufacturer. What are some of their needs?
Yeah, I think that's a great question, and I think today I was thinking about this leading up to our call, and I think that, like a lot of us, manufacturers as well, is integrators are really looking for different ways that they can grow and sustain their business. And I think one of the things that we see in this industry today, and you hear about a lot, is this sort of race to zero, right? With Chinese manufacturers coming in and dropping the price. But the discussion around that, to me, is often centered around manufacturers and how it affects manufacturers. But I also say and look at the fact that it also affects the integrators as well, because the reality is it's going to be very difficult for anyone in our industry, whether you're a manufacturer or an integrator, to survive when you're selling cameras that are costing $80 and $100. So I think that today, because the market is so crowded, there's so many players, it's becoming a commodity, but we're also seeing a lot of players, struggle and either merge or get bought out or go out of business in some cases. That I think it's really important for an integrator to work and partner with a manufacturer who's, first and foremost, solid financially, because I think that's important, because we're again seeing a lot of folks who are having some trouble in that regard today. And then, of course, from the integrator's perspective, he or she needs a partner who's going to provide them, with excellent support, with training, with customer service, and of course, and probably most importantly, are products and solutions that are easy for the integrator to install. And by virtue of it being relatively easy for them to install, not running into a lot of difficulty and challenges, then it becomes much more profitable for them for those installations. So I think that's in my discussions with integrators, that's really what they're looking for, is somebody who can really provide a total solution for them, but certainly not a proprietary solution. I think those days are over, and so they're looking for that open system, and limited competition, a total solution, and an open platform is really the big trend that I think that the integrators are looking for.
Yeah, and that's a great point. And I would think a lot of that's driven by the the end user, your customer, in terms of they don't want to deal with all these different contracts and all these different systems being overseen by different people. Is that the kind of message you're getting as well?
Yeah, we're definitely hearing that loud and clear from the end user, because it's this manufacturer and some software from that manufacturer and something storage from this manufacturer, and that becomes, I think, really difficult. Security folks are really looking for one manufacturer where, all of the components are compatible, they work together. It makes, the installation and the maintenance of the equipment, a lot easier for the end user. And of course, they have, one manufacturer to go back to if there's an issue. They don't have to, I remember in the old days in when we first started out in the security industry, and it was very collaborative, and you didn't have companies that really provided total solutions. So one person did, one aspect of it, and another manufacturer did another. And inevitably, when the end customer had a problem, it was like finger pointing. Everybody's pointing at the other person. And I think, today, the end user doesn't want to point fingers anymore. They just want the problem fixed, because, security, we're talking about physical security here. I mean, it's a very important part of the operations of the business, and it needs to run smoothly. It can't go down. And, I mean, we're in the electronics world. Things do break and go down, but when they go down, they need to be, they need to go to one source and have that repaired and up and running really quickly.
Yeah, those are good points. And what are some of the other trends that you're seeing in the industry? For example, are you getting, do you see the potential for more than just security with these solutions in terms of like business intelligence and, operational efficiencies, those type of things? You want to talk a little bit more about trends?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that's always been, the thing that manufacturers are striving is to dual purpose of cameras. I think the perfect example is and still is the retail space, where cameras and the intelligence in the cameras and the analytics in the cameras really become dual purpose. They're good for security and loss prevention, but they can also be used from a marketing perspective, because you can find out where the traffic flow is within a store, or how long a customer stops at a particular supplier's display, or you can monitor the checkout lines and for operational efficiency and bring more cashiers on, for example, if the lines are getting longer. So I think as the cameras become more intelligent and analytics become more prevalent, and we're seeing the analytics get better and better now, I think that is one of the great benefits and trends of our industry, is that these products and solutions can be used for very different purposes, and that makes them very cost effective, and it also makes them into powerful business tools as well. So I think that's, to me, is one of the really exciting things about our industry. And we're even seeing it with some of our unique analytics and some of our unique cameras. We have a product that's designed specifically for tunnels, for example, because it's very ruggedized and it's got a special coating on the glass that doesn't allow anything to stick to it. But we showed it to one of our large government customers, and they do some work out in some of the dangerous hotspots in the world, but they said, wow, we could really use this camera in that environment, because we don't want the sand sticking to it. So even though we had a product that was designed specifically for one application, here it is being used in another. So I think that's one of the fun things about this industry. You and I were talking before the webinar started today about trade shows, and I was at ISC East last week, and speaking of market trends, one of the things that I did see, which was very interesting, was there were a lot of new companies that were targeting the home security market. So you had companies like Ring, which had quite a big booth presence at the show, and Nest. So it's interesting. This is not a space that TKH plays in, but certainly that was probably the biggest trend I saw at ISC West, was the influx of new manufacturers targeting that home security market.
Yeah, and you know what, we just got back from our Cloud Plus conference, which was really great. But we see a lot of comments were about how the residential side is influencing the commercial side, which almost seems backward. But with all the adoption and consumerization of technology on that side, it just kind of created a really interesting vibe in the industry as commercial kind of looks to residential to see what's going on there, and vice versa. But yeah, you put your finger there on a big trend that's kind of has everyone kind of looking over at the residential side a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, I think there's some really interesting innovation going on as well there. I mean, I think some of these, IP doorbell systems are really pretty neat, and as a homeowner, really bringing some incredible functionality and security to your home. So it's fun to watch, just on a personal note.
Yeah, and just to see how that maybe transitions over to the commercial side with all that user-friendly technology and how that adapts would be interesting. But moving on, looking to 2018, what are some of your goals? What are you looking to accomplish going into a new year here?
Absolutely. Well, so as I started off this webinar today, and I said that we're not as well known as some of our competitors. So certainly, big goal for 2018 for us as TKH is really to to get the brand known out there, because I think when integrators hear our value proposition, if you will, what we can bring to the table, it really resonates with them, and we get a really positive response. So, establishing the brand and really building out the security channel, that's one of the things that we're really working on this year. We have a couple aspects of our business, one of which is the traffic business that I mentioned. That's been a historical legacy business that's been very successful for us, and we've also been very successful in the government space. So 2018 is the year for TKH to break into the traditional security market here in the U.S. And we're looking to add partners to our partner program. And as I said earlier in my discussion for the integrator, really looking at a select group of integrators so that they can face limited competition that can be very profitable for them. So that's one of our really big objectives for next year, and really continue to integrate, to innovate and develop new technologies and new analytics. I think you're going to see some exciting analytics from us, particularly on the traffic side of the house. So really optimistic and looking for a really successful 2018.
Oh, good. That's great to hear. And then I know we've spoken a lot about, industry trends and how technology is kind of, transforming the industry right now. What's your take on the industry? Are we heading in the right direction? Are you bullish on the potential for this industry?
I am still bullish on the potential for the industry. I mean, I think unfortunately a lot of what drives that optimism is the fact that security is still needed. I mean, we probably all wish we could say that it wasn't, but the world is a dangerous place out there, and everybody is affected, unfortunately, and everybody needs security. So that, I think, is one of the reasons that will continue to drive the market. I would like to see a little bit more sort of innovation in our industry. I mentioned ISC East, and one of the big areas where there was some new innovation was the home automation market. But outside of that, I didn't really see a lot of innovation on more of the commercial side. I mean, certainly you saw newer versions of the products that were kind of bigger, better, faster, if you will, improved feature sets and things, but didn't see a huge advancement in that. So I would really love to see a little bit more innovation in our industry, and I think that will come from a lot of the software side of things, the analytics side of things. But overall, I'm very optimistic about the business.
Good, yeah, and I'm actually, I look forward to visiting the booth at ISC West next year. You're going to be there?
We are going to be there, so welcome you and all your folks, subscribers from your different publications and websites, and happy to show them what TKH has to offer.
Yeah, that's great. And then we're almost out of time, so I just wanted to get, speaking of trade shows and conferences, I want to get a quick plug in for our TechSec Solutions Conference, which is February 26th and 27th in Delray Beach, Florida. I'm going to be announcing the program next week, so keep an eye out for that. And thanks again, Steve. It was great speaking with you.
Paul, appreciate you taking your time, and it was great to be here. Thanks very much.
All right, take care, Steve, and thanks, everyone.